Hey people, it's time to talk about my favorite mobile game these days, Guardian Tales. A few weeks back, I got the achievement for collecting attendance for 180 days. That means I've been playing for over 6 months, and I still love it. For anybody who hasn't tried Guardian Tales, you absolutely should. Even after playing for 6 months, I am consistently amazed that this game is free. It's high quality content. It doesn't cost a dime unless you want it to, and it isn't supported by ad revenue. You don't have to watch mindless ads to have access to basic resources. On top of that, the game is generous with its premium resources. They keep coming out with new characters, but they also provide enough resources to keep recruiting the new characters. For example, when I started playing the game, I was missing 6 of the unique heroes, and 6 months later, I'm missing 6 unique heroes. Like, they give you the resources to get the heroes that you want. My guild, Berserk, just got an upsurge of new players, so I'm making this video to provide some pro tips for growth. So, let's get right into it. Your priorities in this game are going to be dependent on if you're in the early game, mid game, or late game. How do you know where you stand on that trajectory? Well, if you still have adventure missions that you can clear, but you haven't done it yet, then you're in the early game. Another sign that you're in the early game is if you don't have a 5-star character yet. For my early game players, your resources are going to be strapped. Awakening stones, EXP, equipment, everything needs to be upgraded, and it's a slow process. My pro tip to you guys is to focus on just one character at a time. Pick a unique character, dunk all your resources into just that character. You want to develop one hero who can carry your team. Even if the other characters die in fights, don't worry about it. They don't give enough to your team yet anyway. You only need one. This character should be a rare hero for a little bit. The knight, the default knight, is actually a pretty decent starting pick up until you obtain your first good unique hero. And we'll talk about which heroes are the best heroes in just a little bit. If you are in the early game, stop and enjoy it. Like, the adventure story missions and the puzzles that are attached to them, that's honestly, I think, the most enjoyable part of the game. Meeting the characters, enjoying the comedy, picking up on these plot points, it's fun stuff. Don't feel like you need to rush it. The most commonly asked question I think that's attached to this game is a bit of a dicey one. Should you use hero crystals to power up your current heroes, or should you save them for limit breaks? My answer to that is a very simple one. For people who don't stick to games for very long, you should absolutely use them immediately, preferably on a unique hero. Somebody who already comes as 3 stars, you want to dunk your resources into them rather than a 2-star unit. The reason why is because their growth patterns are so much bigger, they'll take you a lot farther on the same amount of resources. But the thing is that every hero crystal you spend is going to have more value later on, because once you need those for limit breaks, that becomes one of those limiting resources that keeps you engaged for a long time trying to farm that. Once you internally decide that you're here for the long haul, save up those hero crystals. Use evolution stones instead, pick them up during events, do what you got to do, but don't use the hero crystals. Just so you guys have a full understanding of what it costs to limit break a unique hero, it costs 700 hero crystals to do a full limit break. It takes quite a large amount to bring them to their full potential. So once you're here for the long haul, save them. If you're not sure, if you're on the fence, absolutely use them. A lot of people have different opinions on this one, but that's the closest thing I've been able to find to the truth of what you should use to make that decision. Another question that you run into a lot is, what hero should I reroll for? Some people like to start this game with the right or the best character you can start with. Because there's so many characters that are effectively OP, you can kind of pick between a handful of them that you could want to use. In truth, most of the heroes are functional and balanced within their own ecosystems. There's just a handful that really just kind of suck on every level. If you're new to the game and you just want a hero that isn't terrible, I want you to avoid Plitvice, Idol Captain Ava, Lon, and Aleph. Those 4 kind of just suck. Almost all the other characters have a place in the team somewhere, but those 4 are borderline the worst of the unique characters. Now, for the ones that are actually OP, that just are standouts in their classes, I would say Bari is one of the most OP. Future Princess is likely to stay OP for a long time. Nari is high on the list. Agma is very good. Mia, Beth is probably the best warrior-style champion that we have at the moment. They're all strong heroes that can fit into most team comps. For comparison, my team comp through most of the game consisted of Tinia, Marina, Bari, and Auba. I found that I got most of the Earth-style characters to run that mono Earth team, so I said, all right, let's do it. We'll run with this, see what happens. And that was enough to get you through just about everything. And I'm not even talking limit breaks. When maxed out, that comp can get you through just about every story mission and side mission in the game, as well as all of the hem and hold towers. But by no means am I saying that you should stick with my comp. Like I said, most characters can play very well within the ecosystem of this game. You should pick the ones that you like and go with them. Each of the characters have their own fun little backstories to add flavor. For example, one of the defining moments for me when I really decided that I am in love with Guardian Tales is when they came out with Rue, the Santa's little helper Rue, the reindeer hero. Because in my head, I think there had to be a time where there was like a board meeting and there's some dudes, just a handful of dudes who are presenting this to their manager. And they're like, yeah, she's going to be like a reindeer, but she's going to have sexy anime boobs and like reindeer horns, and she's going to save Christmas. It's going to be great. And then the manager just like slams his fist on the desk and he's like, damn it, Jimmy, we talked about this. That's not crazy enough. It needs to be crazier. And then they're like, well, all right, then she's going to turn to a reindeer demon and she's going to eat a nuke, and that's how she's going to save Christmas. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, good work, Jimmy, good work. All of their characters seem to have these goofy little quirks. I absolutely love it. Next, the mid-game stretch. That is actually the longest stretch of the game. In my opinion, you stay in the mid-game until you've completed a team of 5-star unique characters. And at the later end of that mid-game stretch would be limit breaking them. Mid-game priorities are a bit of a moving target. The two big limiters for that mid-game stretch, Hero Crystals and Legendary Awakening Stones. Those are your limiters. So if you can get more of those, absolutely do it. Mileage tickets are another big thing that are important because they can help you fill in where the gacha elements fail. Sometimes you just can't get the EX weapon, and mileage tickets are the way to get that. Those should be your 3 biggest priorities. My pro tip recommendation for mid-game players is to spend your purple coins on coffee grinders to max out your stamina. You can't let that coffee drip go to waste. It is the lifeblood of how you garner resources. Also, I recommend buying Legendary Awakening Stones from the app shop and the Heavenhold shop as much as possible. The ones in the app shop come around once a week and they just cost a little bit of gold. Absolutely pick those up. The ones from the Heavenhold shop come at a much higher price. I know 300 gems sounds like a lot to spend on the Legendary Awakening Stones, but once you limit break a character, you're going to need around 60 Legendary Awakening Stones. It'll feel like a real hit to your progression to pick them up, but you will absolutely thank yourself for it later. Another pro tip is not to underestimate the value of using your character's EX weapon. I feel like it's a very common thing for new players to assume EX weapons just bump your damage by a couple extra percentage points, but that's just not the truth of it. I've ran a couple trials to try and determine just how important it is. I don't have conclusive results yet. I just haven't done enough data yet, but based on the hero and the weapon, what I can say is that it can give your hero a damage increase of anywhere from 25% to 80% damage bump, which is gigantic. And that's not even counting the utility value that a lot of EX weapons provide. I gotta do a couple more test trials on it, but I'll probably make a video detailing my findings on how important EX weapons are a little bit later. Now, let's talk late game. Late game is where the collection bonuses start to become important because they are the biggest factor in separating yourself from your enemy competitors. At this point in time, you have a almost entirely complete A-team of 4 characters that are max limit broken, that are 5-star, they're unique, they've got a team synergy, and at that point you start building into B teams or C teams for raids or for Guardian base camp points. You start caring about how high you can get your Scarecrow damage total or maxing out your little pink soul point production values. I have a nice pro tip that made it easier for me to get EX weapons for collection bonuses. It's an interesting little trick to stretch your magic metal pieces to the max. Every month, the mileage shop lets you spend 100 magic metal to pick up a legendary weapon, up to 5 times within a month. Thing is, if you don't like the weapon you got from purchasing it, you can extract that weapon to give you a refund of 100 magic metal. So the game gives you literally free rerolls up to 5 times within a month. So if you don't like the weapon that you pick up, you just scrap it and then you try again. It's a fantastic way to build up your collection bonuses. If anybody has questions about optimal team compositions or needing strategy in order to beat a specific mission, ask me in the comments below. I'd love to help out, and oftentimes the harder missions require doing things in a specific way. It can really help to have a strategy when doing the hard missions. I can't accentuate this enough. If you guys have questions, by all means ask me. I would love to assist with it. Thanks for joining in with me, guys. I've got more Guardian Tales content to come about EX weapons and which cards are the strongest to equip on your heroes. If there's anything in particular that you guys want to hear more about or anything you want me to investigate, drop a comment for me. I'll look into it. I run a stream every Tuesday through Friday from 4 to 6 EST. I don't stream Guardian Tales specifically, but if you guys wanted to ask me questions real time, or I'd even make an exception. I'd stream to show you how to beat a particular level. You can catch me there. I'd be happy to help out. If you guys like what you see, consider subscribing. If you guys don't like what you see, feel free to troll me in the comments below. This is Professor Malarkey, signing out.